your new intro, but
Nice. And we're live. Constable Jacob, how are you doing?
constant. Yeah, I'm doing okay. I've enjoyed the last few days. Everybody calling me a pig and a statist. So yeah, that's been
I'm
fun.
used to that.
Yeah, you're used to
I
that.
haven't
See,
wanted
I'm
to
not. I'm
anything.
not. I'm not as used to that. See, I'm still an autistic principled libertarian. So
That's lame.
yeah.
That's not just lame. That's gay. Mm. So
But what are you
you've
drinking,
been
by the way? I meant to ask you.
right now. I'm drinking Sprite, with my favorite Aviation Zen,
Oh, okay.
and then after that, I have a flask full of whiskey that I'm gonna pour into my cherry coke.
That's more my style.
Yeah.
I do Jack and Coke a lot.
Hmm.
That's my favorite
Well,
go-to drink.
I had a few edibles before this, and so I got a bit of both going. It's Friday night. It's gonna be a fun time. So, was that like an elected position? How the hell did you become a constable? What did that entail?
Well, I petitioned for ballot access, got myself on the ballot, and
A libertarian on the ballot?
yeah, I was elected
Make it
as a
happen.
libertarian in the state of Pennsylvania. So,
Nice.
is my audio and video not synced up for you, or is it just on my end that it's on? Because I'm looking at myself and it's delayed.
You look fine to me.
Okay, it must just be a thing on my end. I'm literally
Yeah.
watching myself on the screen, and like everything is a second off, and so it's triggering my autism. But I'll get over it.
I wouldn't be able to cope. I'd just be like, we're not recording tonight. I'm going home, guys. This it ain't working out. Like if I'm watching a movie and I can't get the lips to sync up on Netflix, I just stop watching. I refuse to. I don't tolerate that kind of sync.
Yeah, I hate like some people for podcasts. They have their guests record a like their own audio, and they
Mm.
record their own audio, and then they sync them up so that you have better audio than what you get like StreamYard or what Zoom does.
Mm.
But I just like don't have the patience to line up the audio perfectly
Yeah.
with the video. Like you can do it, but it is so tedious to do that I just was like, nah. I did that one time, and I was like, nope, never again.
One of my favorite podcasts, a Slup Gang, does that, and sometimes they don't line up correctly, and it's the funniest thing ever. That is the most schizophrenic autistic show I've ever seen, and I love every minute of it.
I did a whole podcast with David Fight once where his he had a 3 or 4 second lag, and it was the most like hilarious conversation because like I would tell a joke and I would think it's funny, but I'm laughing, and his face would just be like, and then he would laugh like 4 seconds late, and it was just like I was like, oh god. Yeah, I was like that kind of shit just triggers me so bad. I had to actually minimize the window and just like not look at him the entire time. It's the only way I could get through it. Which I do with you anyway, but that's just because I don't like looking at your face.
See, that's completely fair. Right now I'm actually streaming. I'm playing Minecraft right now, and so this is kind of it works. But I'm doing a podcast tomorrow with a guy who thankfully is audio only, and so I don't have to like put a hat on, get dressed, do my hair. It's gonna be great. I'm just gonna sit down with the mic and go, let's talk about liberty. And I don't have to like do any prep work. My room's a mess. Like this is why I love my camera angle. Right now my floor is a disgusting mess. I actually knocked over my dirty clothes pile this morning, and I haven't picked it back up yet. It's just clothes everywhere. I have no desire to clean it up easily because it's dirty, so I'm just gonna leave it for the time being.
My work area is pretty dirty, but it's like my work area, so I don't care. It's not like I'm at my house. Yeah, it's a total mess. I mean, I got one transmission done over there, over there, and then this one's completely tore down, and I got to work on that later. So, I got trash everywhere. I got a bunch of energy drinks, trash on the floor. It's wonderful.
Energy drinks. Are you a Monster, Red Bull, or Bang? What kind of energy drinks you doing?
So lately I'll grab them. They're up here. I've been doing these.
Oh, Coke Energy. The
Yeah.
today one's not so bad.
Yeah, I like them a lot. I can't really do Monster anymore or any of those. The I don't know. There's something about them. I used to drink them all the time, and now I just can't stand them. I think it's like one of those things that like you overdo, and then you can't. You just lose the enjoyment for it.
I'm
So
slowly getting there. Like my Red Bulls, I used to drink like too many a day, about 4, and now it's like 1 a week because it's just so syrupy and sugary.
yeah, I think I'll get
It
the zero sugar ones, but even
mm,
those, it's just like it's just
I
I
can't
don't know. I
stand
get like they
sugar-free
all,
stuff.
and then it's like they all either taste exactly the same. They have that same generic energy drink taste,
Mm,
or the ones that have a different flavor just taste like ass. So it's just like I
It's
just
not
kind
worth
of
it.
gave up trying to find any ones that I like. There's this one uh brand of energy drink I like called Celsius.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah. I just ordered 10 calories a
yeah,
can, like some tea stuff in there. It's pretty good.
yeah, it's just they're not like none of my like gas stations carry them. The only place I can get them is
Yeah.
Target, and it's like I'm not driving 30 minutes to Target for an energy drink on a spur of a moment.
No, no. Like I got a gas station like 5 minutes down the road from here, and all they really sell is C4s. So it's like,
Oh gosh.
and it's like the pre-workout ones. I'll drink for pre-workout, but I'm not drinking a C4 to sit here and play video games all night. I'll be itching my skin off like a crack addict. It's like, you got any more? You got any more of that stuff over there? No, not the C4
Yeah,
brain
maybe you
energy
just
ones. I love those ones.
I used to be really big into Monster,
Mm,
and I got tired of the regular flavor. Then I drank the teas, which I still get a tea, one of like the Monster teas once in a while, but
mm.
um I don't know. I got out of the habit, but then I noticed I got out of the habit of drinking energy drinks because I was suddenly like falling asleep at like 9:30 every night. I'm like, what the hell's wrong with me? Really, my
That's
wife was
about
like, why are you so tired all the time? I was like, I have no idea. She's like, well, like how much caffeine you had the day? I was like, none.
it.
She's like, yeah, you went from having
9:30.
like yeah, she's like, you went from having like 500 milligrams of caffeine a day to none. So yeah, your body's not wired for that.
Yeah, no, like 9:30 is my usual bedtime. Right there, 9:30. I'm hopping into bed, but I have to go get
Oh
up at like
gosh.
3 o'clock in the morning. So,
Okay.
but
I
not
don't
for
know. I've
much
always
longer.
been a night owl. I
Mm.
I detest going to bed early.
Oh man, I love it. I love to go to bed early and wake up early. I'll get out there and it's like the sun's just coming up. Oh, it's the best time. The gym
See
is empty. The
do?
roads are empty. It's fantastic.
What I do is I burn the candle on both ends until I self implode, and then I'll
Ah,
have like so that I can do that for about like 2 or 3 weeks, and then I'll have a week period where I just am like a fucking zombie, and I have to like just sleep. I'll go that
mm.
then I'm like my body forces me to go to bed early and sleep in, but but then I get back into the routine of just yeah, it's gonna catch up with me at some point. I'm starting to feel it. Like I'm 29, so I'm close to 30, and my body's kind of giving me those warning signs, like, "Hey,
Ooh.
piece of shit, you're not 19 anymore. Stop it."
This is why I work out. I need to keep my body in that like able to stay up late, even though I don't. But I will be going soon. Like I'm quitting my job, and I have 21 more days, 21 more working days left at that piece of crap place, and I'm leaving. So I'm counting down the days. I'm so ready to be gone. But so, Twitter, you seem to get into it with everybody. It's like you're like too based for the Lawbutts, but too artistic for the other ones. And you just get caught right in that middle where it's like you piss off both sides.
Yeah, no, it's pretty accurate. Yeah, I don't know. I just I don't know if this is my libertarian anarchist leanings or if this is just like my personality. It's kind of probably both, but um I don't know. I'm a weird mixture of things, I think, because I detest the left at this point really strongly, but then I also detest just being reactionary to the left. So
Mm,
like I hate both of those things. And so I don't fit into the paleo camp or the like regime libertarian or the left wing camps. So the Macy's caucus is kind of like my natural home because a lot of them are more like me where um we definitely hate the left, but we're really not like full paleo. So I don't know, it's kind of like paleo light or diet paleo, I guess.
yeah. I like the diet paleo. That is a Mises caucus. Yeah, who was it? Yeah, when it came to the whole like the Praxian people, that's my crowd. Like those are the people I listen to, and like those are like Soapisup, Andrew, and Pete. Like those three guys say something like, okay, this is what we're doing. How can I help? That's my crowd. But I gotta say, man, every time I hear a Dave Smith podcast, I always want to pull a little bit back to Mises caucus because he's just so fucking great. He is every podcast. I'm like, yeah, he's just the fucking best.
Yeah, no, Dave's awesome. He's gonna come on my show sometime, either this month or next month, and
that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, and people are asking me like, "What are you guys gonna talk about?" And it's just like, I'm just going to thank him for coming on my show, and then just like you said before, you had like Fo on, just be like,
"Yeah,
what do you want to talk about, Dave?
What you want to do, Dave? How's your day going?" Do me a favor. I don't know the story, but I want to know how he met his wife. Because he talks very lovingly about her, and so I would love to know how he met his wife.
Yeah, I should ask him. Yeah, it was really funny. I was actually like, I had to like play it cool, but when I met him out at the PA Libertarian Convention at our Pittsburgh event, I actually like just walked up to a crowd where he was at, and he saw me. He was like, "Oh, hey Jacob, what's up? Nice to finally meet you." And like I played it cool, but inside I was just like, I was like, Dave Smith knows my name.
Yeah. It's so weird getting like recognized by anybody, you know. Like I was at the Tom Woods event.
Yeah.
And I'm walking down the to one of the restaurants, and Weed Cover walks by and goes, "Catholic Libertarian." I'm like, "Yes, you're Weed Cover there. Hi." And it was a weird, like, someone you know, and you know each other but you never met before, you know. And so it was this weird, like, I've talked to you on Twitter 4 times and you've DM'd me twice. I need to find out where he's at because he DM'd me Ryan Dawson's email address or Skype address to get him on the podcast. And since we got suspended, I have lost those DMs and I have lost the Skype address for Ryan Dawson. And so I got to find a way to get a hold of Weed again and get those get the address.
Oh gosh, I don't know. I've contemplated having Dawson on, but I don't know. I just it's like I feel like he gets enough exposure as it is, and like I don't know if I could invite him on and have him talk about anything he hasn't already talked about.
What I want to get him on for is fake conspiracy theories. I want to have him like talk about the conspiracy theories the government clearly puts out to talk like dissuade people from actual conspiracy theories.
Yeah, he's really good on the 9/11 stuff. Like kind of explaining how like, okay, all of these conspiracy theories are stupid. The real, actual, legitimate conspiracy theories are all these things.
That's what I love about him. That's what I want to talk to him about.
Yeah, no, it's I don't know. I think he's a cool dude. I like a lot of the things he has to say. I know he triggers a lot of the lawbirds. I do have a little bit of a disagreement with him in that I think he doesn't understand what being ethnically Jewish is. Like he thinks that being Jewish is only a religion, which is like that's not true. And granted, I know it's kind of confusing to people, but he just tries to go like, oh, it's racist or it's just wrong to like, you know, why are people Jewish if they don't practice the religion? And it's just, I don't know. I think it might be where his autism is just especially high. I just think.
Well, to be that smart, it has to be.
Right. Yeah. I just think he's kind of like, it's one of those things where I think he's missing the forest for the trees, or I don't know. I don't know how that saying actually works, but it sounds about right. So whichever direction that's supposed to go.
That was peak autism right there. You're going to say it. I don't know what it means, but
dude, I don't know who to ask to get the actual explanation for the saying. I'm like, so wait, missing the forest for the trees. I was like, I kind of get what it means, but if you asked me to explain it, I would just, I don't know. Like, I guess it's like all you see are individual trees and not the forest, or is it the other way around? It's like, I don't get it.
There should be a website for that. There should be a website for like colloquial expressions. They have no clue what they mean. Do you ever try to spell one out? Like, it's like there's some words here I'm drawing a blank on, but it's words people in Polk County will use to describe things. And it's like, it's not a weird word in any way, shape, or form. And you're using it in a text. You're like, how the fuck do you spell that?
Well, then sometimes you spell a word right, but then you just look at it, and at that moment you're like, what the fuck? Like, how do those letters form this word that doesn't look right?
That's me with the word tomorrow. Like, for the life of me, I would never spell that word correctly. I would always voice chat it. And every time I finish voice chat, I'm like, that's not fucking right. There's no way there's that many M's.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember any of the words that I've had that reaction to, but Break. Like Brake. It just seems wrong to me. I don't know why. Every time I write out, and like I work on cars for a living, so I see that word a lot. I have to write it out a lot, and I'll just be like a BRKE. I'm like, wait, BRAKE. Is that right? Is it? Then I'll be like, is it BREAK? I was like, no, that's the wrong type of brake. Okay, I guess it is BRAKE. But no, it can't be. It's not right. It's just like,
It doesn't look right. Got a little autism. Like, I know that's how it's supposed to be. Like, there's so many words like that where I'm just like, I know that's what it's supposed to be, but my autism refuses to accept what it is. So I'm an anarchist. I refuse to accept what it is.
I feel like it's partly because of the English language, and probably for a lot of us who are maybe like somewhere on the spectrum, the fact that the English language has so many letters that fulfill multiple sounds and purposes, and how we have so many words with silent letters, it's just like it's like we want things like I'm a guy who wants things to be consistent. Like I want X to always equal what X equals, and like I don't like when it's like, oh, the like I before E except after C except for these three words. And I'm like, no, that's bad. Whoever decided it should be that way should be like, if anybody deserves to be kicked out of my Covenant community, it's whoever decided the English language should be constructed that way. And honestly, that being kicked out's too good for them. Tarred and feathered and thrown out of a helicopter.
Now you're speaking my language. See, my Covenant community is basically this one policy. You have to take a political compass test before you get in. That's it. I need a political compass test. No, like I see. You're a little different. I have no problem when somebody asks me about my politics, so I just say anti-left. That's it at this point. I have things I prefer, but at the end of the day, I can clear pill myself and be happy in a lot of different situations as long as it's not leftist neoliberal hellscape. And so I am fine with just settling just to not be in that area. That's why I live in a red county, in a red state, in a red city. But like just right there, like, Against the Left by Lou Rockwell is my manifesto. Have you read that book yet?
Which book?
Against the Left by Lou Rockwell.
I've not read that. No.
Book. Oh my god! Well, he clips Rothbard and other people's writings about Against the Left, and at one point, is this Murray Rothbard debunking feminism? And it's like, one of the lines is, women claim that men are incapable of reaching the level of logic and reasoning needed to understand why equality is a good thing. But if that was true and you can never change their minds, why do you keep talking? But the problem is women never stop talking. It's like, Rothbard wrote this in when, like the 70s? Okay. It's pretty good.
Yeah. It's really funny when all the Lawbirds try to put Rothbard and Mises on their side as being some kind of leftist. I'm just like, yeah, you haven't actually read Rothbard or Mises, have you? They were like, I'm not saying they were super paleo, but they were definitely against the kind of degeneracy and like egalitarianism that the left stands for. Now I get some cognitive dissonance at times, which probably also contributes to why I get into so many Twitter fights. But like I was raised in a conservative household. My we're kings. What's up, Rob?
Rob.
Yeah, Rob's awesome.
I feel like one of my favorite people.
Rob and I are like brothers who bicker all the time, but like I love him so much.
Dude,
but
we have the funniest group chat in the world. We do. It is fucking hilarious every day.
Usually it's me coming in and I drop a couple comments and I leave, and then I come back later. You guys are like, "Wait, what the fuck happened? We've been arguing about transgenders for the last hour." Fuck you, Jacob.
It was somehow you started this thing about like, what do the trans people in your Covenant community? You left and came back, and Rob and I were like, "What's more gay, banging a trans or banging Rosie O'Donnell?" And it's like, you subverted us, Jacob. You came in with your lefty nonsense and subverted us and then left.
Yep, that was my plan all along. Nah, it's just like, so like I was raised in a conservative household, but like the way I was raised in it made me kind of rebel against it. Like I it was not presented to me in ways that I latched onto it when I was young. And I think this is also part of it's like I have a weird mixture of like personality traits. But I'm really high in like what Jordan Peterson calls trait openness. And that is a kind of hallmark sign of people who are more liberal or left leaning in their psychological makeup. And so I'm very anti borders in the sense that like the way my mind works is that I'm kind of oriented towards if someone says no, or if someone puts up a rule or a barrier around something, I sort of intrinsically, by my nature, I wouldn't say like I rebel against it, but I question it. I don't just like, I don't like artificial boundaries that I don't understand.
I feel that.
Yeah,
When
but at
when
the
I was
same
young,
time,
good.
well, I was gonna say, but at the same time, like, so, and then because I was raised in that conservative upbringing, in a way that wasn't beneficial, I found myself really drawn to the left. And after high school, I kept getting more and more left. I was a registered Democrat. I was like the typical, like, I was basically a lot like the Lawberts in the sense
I
that,
would have
like,
blocked you, probably.
yeah, you would have blocked me. I was the kind of person that would call you a racist or a sexist. I believed in systemic racism and systemic sexism. I believed
I
in the
would
gender
have.
pay gap. I
I would have
believed,
reported you. I don't. At
yeah,
this
I
point,
was,
before I block people, I make up some fake report on them. I don't even care. Like, this person's
yeah,
threatening violence against me, and then I block them.
yeah. I mean, like,
Fingers
all the
crossed.
all the cliches. I mean, the only thing that kept me a zebra among, because like I was always a zebra among the leftists, like a zebra among horses. And that was because I still was a Christian. So I was still pro-life. I've never been pro-abortion. I've always been believed that abortion is murder. And so that always kind of put me at odds with the left, even when I was pretty radical in my leftism. Um, and I've always been pro, like I did kind of embrace a pro LGBT kind of sentiment, but I still believe that it was better, like, like safe sex for marriage, and that it's better for kids to be raised by a mother and a father. I was like, I don't care if you want to be a gay couple, but I think it's okay for adoption agencies to favor straight couples over gay couples, because psychologically speaking, it's better for a child to receive parenting from a mother and a father. So like those two views kept me kind of like at odds with a lot of the left leaning people that I was surrounded by. And I was deep. I was a vegan. I was going to local. I was like part of a vegan activist group.
How long
I
were you
kid you
vegan
not,
for?
5-6 years, I think.
Damn, I only made it about a month and a half.
Yeah, I kid you not, and you can you should do this live. Google Jacob Winograd vegan, and you'll find an article I wrote like 5 or 6 years ago for a vegan website, and where I tried to tell Christians that God wants you to be vegan, and if you're not, you're rebelling against God's design.
Hold up. I think I got it, and I will be doing a live reading of this, but not with you. I'm gonna get Christ Pilled Andrew to come on, and we're gonna live read it and just roast you for myself.
Do it.
It's gonna be absolutely hilarious. Oh, I'm gonna have so much fun.
Yeah, I'm not proud of that, but I leave it up just as like, this is a benchmark. This is like a check mark, like a milestone. It's like when I tell people, because some people don't believe me, because I'm much more right leaning now than I used to be, and so some people don't believe me when I tell them that I came from the left. And this article says all you need to know about where I used to be.
I can't wait
It's
to read
like,
it.
yeah, it is. I mean, the heresy that I commit in that article is so bad that like I would not question you from keeping me out of your covenant community.
See,
Just
I'm
be
tired
like,
of hearing the words "kick out" of covenant community. I want to say excommunicate from my covenant community.
yeah,
That's my. They always say you get more right wing as you get older.
yeah,
And
that
that's been
definitely
true for
happened to
me.
me.
The same thing's happening for me. I am more right wing now at 23 than I was at 22. Imagine me at 40.
Oh,
It's gonna be wild. It's gonna be wild, dude. Just every day the left radicalizes me a little bit more. I probably will make it to 40. I want to take Kaczynski someone.
Dude, the left's radicalizing me too. Like, it's hard for me to maintain. Like, I get where people fall into the trap of just like identifying as anti-left. It's like I have my issues with the right, but the right leaves me alone for the most part. Even where the right bugs me still. Like, I'm not fully 100% settled on the right, because like there's a couple things that like I just don't quite like. I try it on, it doesn't really fit me still, but it's like, but you like, they don't care. It's like there's a couple things I disagree with my Trump friends with, and it's like, whatever. like, I disagree with you. The left, it's like, even where I agree with them, it's like, well, you don't agree with me enough, so you're a bigot. It's like, it's not enough to defend the rights of LGBT individuals to like do whatever they want. It's like, if I don't celebrate their lifestyle and culture, I'm a transphobic bigot and I've committed aggression against them.
I am so
And
tempted to tattoo transphobic on my back. Like, I want to pre-brand myself.
pre-brand myself.
I'm very tempted to pre-brand myself with all the labels I've been throwing at me.
I'm so lucky I didn't get tattoos when I was young. I would have had some really cringe ones.
Oh, see, the only tattoo I'm probably ever gonna get is I'm gonna get on my forearm, Sig Simple Tyrannus, just two tyrants, and that's gonna be like my little conversation piece. Like, what's on your arm? It's like, oh yeah, this is what was showed at Lincoln when he sit his pants. I've stopped referring to it as being assassinated. It's when he shit his pants, like Biden.
See, I love Lincoln, not because like I don't love Lincoln the person, but I love using him as a test to see if someone's an actual conservative or a fake conservative. Because I know you're a legit right winger and conservative if I talk to you about Lincoln and being a bad president. And like, maybe you don't know a lot, but if somebody can go, I can at least give them the argument and they go, okay, yeah, I see where you're coming from. There's hope for them. The people that go hardcore bootlicking for Lincoln, like, oh my gosh, like Ben Shapiro did like a rating all the top presidents countdown some time ago and had Lincoln at like the top. And I was just like, no, dude.
I can't.
No.
That was one of those videos I saw when I was like, there's still reasons to watch Ben Shapiro every once in a while. And that was when I watched it. I'm like, this is no. Dude, let me tell you, the Daily Wire is suing the government over the vaccine mandates right now. And I'm really hoping the court won't even hear the case. Because if the court hears their case and they win and they stop the whole vaccine mandate, that's cool and all. But that's just going to give all the conservatives see, you can work within the system to make things better. You don't have to tear it down. If the court won't even hear the case and all the Daily Wire boomacons see, wow, it's that corrupt, that's a red pill for all of them. And so I'm kind of hoping they don't succeed.
I kind of get what you mean there. I do appreciate what the Daily Wire is doing as far as trying to kind of be a counter to Hollywood. And like when they hired that actress that Disney fired from The Mandalorian, like that stuff I appreciate about them. But Ben Shapiro, like at this point, I like Andrew Klavan and Matt Walsh sometimes more than Ben Shapiro. And it's
Klavan's great.
Yeah, Klavan's pretty. I mean, he had Tom Woods on a while back.
Yeah,
and that was a great interview.
And
then he had
son.
He had Michael Malice on too. No, that was Michael Knowles. Sorry,
Knowles had Malice on.
Yeah.
Klavan's son, Spencer Klavan, is the host of the Young Heretics podcast. Really good podcast. He was in Oxford, like English, like literature major. So he speaks all the languages, reads it all in the original Hebrew and stuff. Really cool guy. Wow, it's all hitting me. Everything's hitting me real hard right now. My brain's getting fuzzy. He found out that the Oxford got rid of Homer. Like in the intro to Western civilization, they got rid of Homer in the Iliad and the Odyssey. And so he's like, fuck you, we're reading Homer. And he started a podcast where he opened with reading Homer. And so he does a very great podcast about Western culture. And it's a ridiculously great podcast. He's a little too tradcon some of the times, but he's pretty apt when it comes to like political takes. And he knows Michael Malice. Dave Rubin and put Michael Malice together as a friend group. And so they know each other. It's kind of a red pill to think that tradcon. He's gay. He's a gay Christian tradcon. And so he's got a lot of things going for him. And on Twitter, he's great because someone would disagree with him. Be like, little known fact, disagree with me is homophobic.
See, the best gay people are the ones that you can't tell are gay.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's like
you can't tell.
It's like because it's like to me, it's like if you make being gay part of your personality, it's like like I don't know. I guess to a point, it's not a bad thing, but there's a point where it crosses a line, and it's just hard for me to tolerate those people. But I have a lot of friends who are gay, but like you wouldn't really guess that they were gay unless they told you. And usually it's like I find out kind of after the fact. It was like, oh, you have a boyfriend? No, okay. I don't really give a shit too much, but I still I have, for a while I went back and forth. I have kind of settled on, believing that homosexuality is a sin. But wait, what are
There he
we
is.
doing? Oh my
That
god.
is Spencer Clavin, and that is Andrew Clavin's son.
Hold
He
on,
is a buff dude.
if you're gonna do this, you might as well put up my vegan article. I mean,
I have it right here. I'm not getting rid of it. It's gonna stay here. I'm gonna pin it to my profile. I am going to make memes out of this, Jacob. I hope you understand that.
oh god.
This
Well,
this is gonna
I can
be
blow my nose quick.
ladies and gentlemen, I am going to shit post Jacob out of this word. It is gonna be absolutely. Let's just read the first line. Let's read it. Let's find a line here. One of the things I hate to see in the church is when people talk about the Bible, put out a couple of verses out of context, and conflate those verses with points they're trying to prove and demonstrate. Kind of like with every argument for biblical anarchy.
Ooh.
I am gonna have so much fun with that.
Oh god.
I
That's
think the
something I'm
giggly
always
face.
in all seriousness, that is something I'm always trying to make sure, like, it's really easy to like get into a mindset where I just focus on the really easy passages that kind of like are obviously a connection between the Bible and anarchy. But I've tried to, even like what I'm trying to do now is just be able to read the Bible straight through and not have like parts that I avoid because they're uncomfortable, which isn't always easy, but I've started to do that. I mean, and part of it's like a mixture of apologetics with also a mixture of like a libertarian motivation. But I mean, I think the easiest way, like in a way, Christian anarchism is like anarcho-monarchism, because like it's not even that, like, I'm not an anarchist because I actually believe in the idea that there are no such thing as rulers. It's just that I believe that there's only one legitimate ruler, and that is God, and that Jesus is the true king, and that we live in subject to him. And because of that, because of the status of God as the true one ruler, when it comes to our relationships with the rest of mankind, we live in a natural state of anarchy to each other. So that's kind of like the frame by which you kind of have to read the Bible, and that's why I read. So like my podcast used to be Daniel 3, obey God over the state, and then I changed it, reformatted it like early on to biblical anarchy, and I chose that name very specifically because I wanted it to like not just be generic Christian anarchism, because there's a lot of Christian anarchists that are not very good on the Bible. They shy away from the Bible, and
every Christian anarchist has one saying that that's a complete heresy. For most of them, it's whipping Paul out of the Bible. There's a Facebook group, Christian anarchists, and so many just whip Paul out of the Bible. For some, sorry, Rob, it's sorry, Rob, but for some, it's denying the Trinity. And my whole my problem with it is it's understandable in a sense. You're told your entire life, hey, the Bible means God and country, and you take one red pill on the Bible, you go, maybe it means anarchy. You end up taking the whole bottle, and you kind of just red pill yourself to say, well, I can interpret everything myself, and I don't need to like everyone's wrong but me, and you start going way too far in some of your interpretations. It's the same happens with the red pill, So you red pill yourself on Bible interpretation, you start to, which is the benefit of being Catholic. I kind of have a scaffolding or a guideline laid down by the church of how far I can go, which is helpful. I enjoy that.
What do you think of? I've been meaning to ask you this. What do you think of like Seamus Coughlin of Freedom Tunes? Are you familiar with him?
I am, and I am very torn on him.
Yeah, what do you think of him? Like, because he used to be very strong libertarian, but then he said, you know what, I can't be a libertarian because my Catholicism basically forbids me from doing it, because I think the state needs to ban drugs and ban abortion and ban all these other kind of things.
So two things. One, he made abortion his number one priority, and says the only reason he doesn't vote libertarian is because you need abortion to be gone, and the only one's going to go away is through Republican Party, which I think is just ridiculous. The Republican Party isn't going to do it. It's too much of a voting base for them. I think he like a lot of people, he wasn't super serious about his Catholicism. He wasn't really care about it too much. Then he got into it and became a tradcon. And I think if he really studied it and then he didn't just like go too quickly through it and dive off a deep end, he would have been more anarcho-monarchist Hoppian style. I don't think he ever read Hopper.
I don't think so either. I just don't get why. Like, he was like big into Tom Woods. Like
he was on the Tom Woods show.
Yeah, he was on the Tom Woods show. And I was just like, Tom Woods was a sponsor of Freedom Tunes, and I was like you have the most based Catholic libertarian to ever live. And
Lou Rockwell, but
yeah, I guess Lou. I don't know. I haven't read too much of Lou, to be honest. I mean,
dude, I am going through his works now, and holy shit, is he awesome!
I just
line is blown away.
He just has so much boomer energy that it triggers me. Like, there's a lot of old man yells at sky to his speeches and his writing.
Yeah, but I like that kind of energy. This December, last year the Fakotarian did that Blue Rockwell Christmas stream.
Yeah.
This year, Jared from End Democracy, Kinsey Puff, whatever it's from Twitter, Stratty, and I can't remember the other guy, but we're gonna hop on here and we're gonna do a Lou Rockwell Respect Christmas stream. We're gonna talk about how great he is, and I plan to do a live reading of his review of Mighty Ducks 2. Just to talk about how base it is. I've read some of it, and it's like, yeah, you know what? It's old man yells this guy about Modern Mover.
You mean Lou Rockwell? This is actually like, as much as I'm not always the biggest fan of Lou, that article, although it can seem a little silly if you haven't watched the movie, or if you just I don't know, it's a little over the top in the way it's written, but I think he uses very hyperbolic, very dramatic language in the article. But basically the article is him way before it became a big deal, sort of seeing the woke movement as it was kind of starting, seeing the roots of it and kind of predicting that there was going to be this big push in Hollywood and in filmmaking and in the entertainment industry to push all of this egalitarianism and anti-white, anti-Christian rhetoric. So it at the time, if you would have read his article, it would have seemed silly. But now, late 2021, it's like, oh, Lou wrote this in the 90s? Shit, he saw that coming.
I cannot find it for the life of me right now. But Murray Rothbard also wrote movie reviews. And I'm trying to... There's one he wrote for some Prince film. And it was the funniest thing I've ever read. And I'm trying to find it right now, but I cannot... Oh, let me see. Prince. Let me type that in here. Prince. I don't know if you ever read his movie reviews, but there's some ridiculously funny ones. Let me see if I can find it here. I cannot. Anyway, one of the lines he said was basically, all French movies are socialist propaganda for the common man, hiding behind sophistry and terrible effects. He just goes through and just dismantles not only the crap storytelling, but the propaganda behind it. And it's absolutely hilarious. I'm very tempted to start a movie review podcast where I just read Murray Rothbard movie reviews. It was awesome. He's so great.
You brought up Mackenzie. I seemed to really upset her the other day with that whole conversation we had, which I still don't I still don't even know what happened. I just I was at work and kept checking my phone and just kept going why is everybody yelling at me? What is happening? I was I'm just asking. I was I just want to know what the tweet is about. Somebody tell me what the tweet is about. I don't get it.
Yeah,
no,
it was
you, Jacob.
It was a weird tweet. I will say for Andrew, it was a weird tweet, but I got so out of control quickly. Kinsey wasn't going to come on. We've had to cancel twice now. Once because I was busy. Second because he got COVID, and so we've had to cancel.
Yeah, I'm supposed to invite her on sometime, but I've been so busy with the stuff with my dad. But
yeah, how's he doing, by the way?
Better, actually. I got to talk to him today on a Zoom call, so that was actually pretty cool. Good. He's starting to come through. He's gonna need months of rehab, though. It's the problem. He can't talk. He can only nod and kind of hand gesture. He's completely lost his voice. He's still relying on a lot of oxygen. His lungs are still very weak, so he's awake and off the ventilator and kind of like through the worst of it, but his body's very crippled right now, and it's going to take him a while to
I'll
get
make
back
sure to
to...
throw the GoFundMe into the description.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it's
No
like
problem.
it's really like, I hate asking for money, but it's just like between him not working, my stepmom not working full time, like she's working as much as she can, and just all the medical bills. He's gonna have to go to a rehab facility, and the insurance company is already giving us issues with that because the only places that they want to cover are places that are full and that he can't, that aren't even going to really give him the kind of, like, they're really crappy places. At like a place that's actually going to help him get back on his feet quicker, we're probably going to have to find a way to pay out of pocket for. And those places are not fucking cheap.
Yeah.
So it's, it's, I appreciate everyone who's donated so far and people sharing it. It's been a huge blessing. But,
reason to get into podcasting, people. Reasons to get into podcasting. Build an audience, and who needs insurance when you have an audience?
Well, it's like we don't even have insurance. We have this government mandated piece of shit, health insurance policy that, everyone has super high deductibles, and the insurance basically doesn't cover anything. And what it does cover is like you have to jump through 20 hoops just to get them to pay for anything. Yeah. It's ridiculous. I'm actually I'm enrolled personally in a Christian health share ministry. I don't do health insurance. It's just a big Ponzi scheme, whereas the health share ministries are a lot more functional, in my opinion.
Yeah,
so.
my insurance is hoping to die young. Who was it? Oh, it was Cotton Arcus on Twitter. One of my favorite people on Twitter. He's so mad he wasn't breastfed as a child, but that's he blames not being breastfed or not being 6'2". He's already 6 foot. He wanted to be 6'2" because the taller you are, the younger you die. It's just the funny.
Wow.
The line of reasoning to connect that is the funniest. Just thinking about it makes me giggle. Hey, real quick, I gotta take a piss. You went to show real quick.
Oh, I run the show? Okay. This is why Catholicism is wrong and fake and gay. No. Well, it's not called the Catholic Libertarian. What did he change his name to? Faith, Liberty, and Praxis. So that's a pretty cool name. Shit, what do I want to talk about? Let's see. Let's look at Caleb's background. He's got a Star Wars poster. That's pretty cool. I don't know if that white thing is that Aristotle or Socrates. I can't tell. He's got Stitch reading a book. That's pretty cool. I see Harry Potter books. Yeah, Caleb's got more books than me. I gotta fix this. I can't tell what that thing on the other side is. Is that some kind of... I don't know. I'll ask him when he gets back. Yeah, what is that?
Socrates.
I see white guy and it's like a statue. I was like Socrates or Aristotle? I have no idea.
I much prefer Aristotle, but this was the guy who got me interested in understanding, like, hey, why maybe democracy is cringe. And so, I honestly, when I first heard his arguments, I was like, no, he's wrong, because any way to combat that would be, his argument was like, democracy is back as dumb people vote. And my argument was like, yeah, that's true, but any counter to that is creating a test people to take before they can vote. And to make that test, it's going to be controlled by the government and the elites, and it's just going to make it harder and harder for the everyday person to make a difference. And I saw it, but I'm like, no, the other solution is just fucking getting rid of it. So I didn't think ahead.
I mean, like, sometimes I'll try.
First off, Rob, this chair is beautiful. Now, why it's beautiful? It was fucking free. I got off the side of the road. I found it in my neighborhood on a walk, and so I hopped into it, and I scooted my way all the way back to my house. I scooted down the sidewalk about a block and a half in this bad boy. So this chair is fucking great.
Well, I guess Caleb's a socialist. He wants everybody to have free chairs.
Yes. What was it? And yes, I do have more books than you, but you also have a wife and kid. So, like, think you went in there.
Yeah. What's weird is like I'm not into fiction really that much. Like I used to read a lot of fiction books when I was a kid in school, but as an adult, I just don't. I don't know. I don't feel compelled to read a lot of fiction, and when I do, it's like I read the old classics. Like right now, I'm reading what is it? The Crime and Punishment.
Yeah, I'm reading that too.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm reading that, and I want to go back and reread Tale of Two Cities, just because I remember liking that when I read it. It's a really hard book to read because it's written in like Old English, and so it's it's like I don't know why. It's like when I do read fiction, it's like American fiction. Fuck that. It's like give me some old European fiction or Russian fiction.
I'm currently reading this one. This is Dante's Inferno, Purgatory, and Paradisico. I'm going through the Dante stuff because Catholic. I gotta say, the inspiration for this podcast came from Michael Nose's book club on PragerU because I saw he's choosing all the wrong books. Almost everything I do, honestly, is just like the opposite. And despite Michael Nose, I fucking hate that guy. Like, I fucking hate Michael Nose with all my heart. Like, if I could excommunicate him, I would. I cannot stand that dude.
Yeah, I didn't think it was possible to hate Michael Knowles more than I did. And then when Malice was on his show and he literally went, "But my Romans 13," I was just like, "Dude, you're the worst." Like, at least Ben Shapiro can't go Romans 13 because he's Jewish.
Yeah,
so he can't use that rebuttal.
He can be like, "Well, Anarchy would mean Israel wouldn't get funding anymore." So. It's like going back and listening to old Ben Shapiro stuff, and just like after kind of understanding Zionism and the whole Palestine-Jewish conflict, and watching his old stuff, you're kind of like, oh, you're a piece of shit.
He used to be so much more based than he is. Like he used to be actually like pretty like hardcore libertarian, and like I still think he believes in a lot of that.
Well, he likes Austrian economics.
Yeah,
he tweeted out that he's a Hayekian and not a Misesian, and it's like, well, that's fucking gay.
I mean, I like Hayek, don't get me wrong, but I mean...
I don't.
Why don't you like Hayek?
Hoppe gave a great lecture on why Hayek was a communist. I'll send you a link to it.
Oh, I mean, Hayek used to be a socialist, so I mean...
And so was Hoppe. If you listen to the post-Marxist video Pete Canonis put out on Hoppe?
No, I did not.
It's a fantastic, like, basically, Bud Arcus gives a lecture about why Hoppe is a post-Marxist, and Hoppe himself thinks he's the real Marxist because he's at one point Hoppe says everything Marxism describes about the failures of the system is correct, but they arrive to it from stupid first principles, and he's the real Marxist. It's a very wild video.
Yeah, there's something like about the left and the right that like they get it. They both get things wrong, but like in different ways, but they both get things right, but in different ways. So it's like the left is often oriented towards rebelling against power structures, which is in some ways compatible with libertarian thought. The problem is their motivations are very anti-libertarian. Their motivations are egalitarianism and equality and just these very I don't know, they're very anti-order. Yeah. And I'm not anti-order. I'm anti-coercion. The right is a lot closer to like libertarians in terms of like they're more for small government, more for free market economics. But they confuse preserving order and hierarchies with statism. And it's like, so they have better motivations, but they get led astray. So it's like, I don't know. It's like, I definitely have come to a point where I'm no longer autistically saying the left and the right are exactly the same, because it's just not true. At the very least, it's not true in a universal sense. Like maybe over the longest time span, it might average out. Like maybe there's times where the right is worse and the left is worse. I definitely feel like the right was worse than the left during like the Bush years.
Well, that's what Lew
Um,
Rockwell. He quit being a paleo during the Bush
yeah,
years. He saw 9/11. He wrote a book called "Fascism versus Capitalism," which is basically against the left but targeted at the Bush era conservatives.
yeah,
But
and
also,
really
I like
like
that book because I hate the neocons, and so it's a great book.
yeah. Um, so yeah, it's very it's a very interesting dichotomy, I guess. But I don't know. I just don't get like sometimes like like that whole exchange I had with Jared and Mac and other people,
Did
and
he
I'm just
reblock
like,
you or he?
no, he still didn't block me.
Okay, good.
Uh, um, but I just don't like. So I'm definitely like I view being gay, like homosexuality, as a sin. I definitely think that there's something wrong about the modern transgender movement, and like I think that trying to abolish the differences between men and women is wrong. I just I don't know. I get they're trying to push this stuff on us, and we need to like push back on them doing that. But sometimes I just feel like there's a lot of people in the more paleo crowd that like just take a stance of being very like just more anti LGBT than I can find myself compelled to be. Because basically, it's like I'm not really anti the LGBT people. I'm just anti the left and the left's weaponization of those people. But it's like I don't care about the people. I just care about the left's weaponization of them.
Well,
Because I've met enough people from those communities who actually hate the left too.
yeah.
You know what I
That's
mean?
what I was about to say. It's like the
Yeah.
people when I went about the LGBTQ. I'm not wanting about the people. I'm wanting about the people who are subscribed to that organization. And to
Right.
me, like how I saw viewing the left and any subsection of the left is like the Borg. You've been assumed by the Borg. You're assimilated. At this point forward, I don't view you as an individual. You are part of this collective. There's no reasoning with you. There's no arguing with you. It's just the people who are of the same species. Like in Star Trek, the people who are like humans who are assimilated, the humans who weren't assimilated. You don't blame the whole species. You blame the ones who are assimilated. And that's how I view trans people and the gay people and everyone like that. It's like, okay, wow, I'm drunk. My brain just fucking froze on me. I had a sentence in my brain, and my brain just started saying coke and went, wow, that's half gone. Okay. I don't know where I was going with that. Jacob, you pick it up from here.
Well, it's just like, yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, like I'm very anti the ideology of the LGBT movement on the left. Um, I guess I like sometimes I fear that like conservatives don't understand that there's a trap in being too reactionary. And like to me, it's like this is what happened to me. So maybe I'm biased by my personal experience. But like my parents tried so hard to protect me from the left and to protect
Mm,
me from the secular culture that it became a forbidden fruit and it became
mm.
very enticing. And so I rebelled against what I was raised in.
I
And I
actually
feel
want to
like
talk to you
if
about that.
okay,
I want to go. I want to talk to you here because I was homeschooled, and so I'm very aware of and understanding. I know a lot of the helicopter parents who overshelter their kids. And
yeah.
I believe in sheltering the kids from the leftist nonsense, but there's a way to do it that is actually sheltering and not
Well, I feel like you shouldn't shelter
doing it
them. I feel like
correctly.
you should strengthen them to resist it. Like you should
I don't,
expose them to it and teach them why it's wrong and give them the weapons and the
mm,
tools they need to analyze it for themselves
mm.
and to be able to push back against it.
But at what
But
age?
if
At what age do you like?
you give
I have
them
some friends who hardcore Christians, they fantastic people. I love them. They homeschool their kids, all of them, until about sixth grade. Then they send them to public school. And they were like, "We're gonna homeschool you. We're gonna teach you what's right, what's wrong, and then we're gonna throw you into the word so you can get used to it, and you can try to win souls of Christ while in school." And two of them ended up great. One of them got kind of too into the group, and so it's like, at what age is it different by each kid? I feel like you can't make any hard or fast line. And for me, it's like, if I'm not a parent, thank God. I never want to be a parent. I have no desire for any of that stuff. But like, there's a point when over surgery is too much, but to let loose is also too much. And so like trying to find a happy middle ground is probably impossible because there's no perfection. Is not what we're saying. But like, do you ever watch the Learning Channel TLC?
no.
No, okay. So TOC is one of my favorite channels ever. 1,000 Pound Sisters, all those like 90 Day Fiancés. I'm obsessed with reality TV. I can't stop watching it. I'm at the gym and I do cardio to my 600 pound life. I run the fat people.
Oh, okay. I watched that with my wife. The
That's
600
the
pound life.
shit, man. That's so
I
good.
love the doc. Was it Doctor No or
Oh,
Doctor
Dr.
Now?
Now. Oh, Dr. Now.
Yeah.
He's so good.
He comes in just like he's like, you need to lose 30 pounds. It should be very easy for you. It's just like what? Just like
my favorite part
if you don't do this, you are going to die. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
My favorite part at one point, someone was like in the hospital after the surgery, and their girlfriend was sneaking food into the hospital, and they were still eating. They were gaining weight after the surgery, and he was yelling at them. He's like, "You don't need to eat any more food." And they were like, "But I'm dying. I'm hungry. I'm starving." It's like, "You're not starving. There's 600 pounds of food right there." And he poked him in the stomach. It's like, he's amazing. I fucking love that doctor. No, but there's a show on there. Oh my god, what's it called? It's one of those like parents who have a lot of kids, like a Duggar type show, but not the Duggars.
Yeah.
And what they did is the kids aren't allowed to have cell phones or go on the internet, but they are allowed to use their parents' phone whenever they want. And it's like, okay, that's actually not so to your kids. That's letting your kids experience war as long as you're in complete control of it. And I feel like there's a weird mechanism, there's a weird thing there where it's like, on one hand, it's a good thing because they're supervising it. On the other hand, it's not actually giving a kid freedom. It is purely just more ways to exercise control over your kids. And there's a weird line people have to walk there. Like, I've seen parents who go way too controlling, and the kid doesn't know anything. It's like, I know a guy, great dude, but the moment he gets in the real world, it's going to chew up and spit him back out. He is not at all prepared for it.
Yeah.
And so trying to see that middle ground, it's hard.
I feel like I think there's two things here. For one, parents make a mistake, and this doesn't just apply to how to expose your children to the world, but this really applies for like parenting just overall. Parents make the mistakes that they think they need to treat each child the same, which is just wrong. Every child's going to be different, and you realize that very early on. Like when you're a young parent, you think that environment is everything. And now I'm 3 kids in with a 4th on the way, and I realize
Jesus
environment.
Christ, how old are you again?
29.
Fucking 3 kids with a 4th on the way. My God, man. I'm gonna call TOC, get you a Duggar type cell. Anarchy raising children. That's the next cell.
Yes. Well, I mean, the only way we're going to ever beat the statists is if we out reproduce them. So, I mean, I'm just doing my part. But
I have never wanted to get a girlfriend more than here. The only way to beat the state is to outbreed them. I'm gonna do my part.
Yeah. No one's talking about that. Everyone's like paleo strategy, no Mises strategy, no agri strategy. And I'm just like,
you're going to outfuck the left. That's the strategy.
Baby boomer 2.0. Okay, we just need to create the boomer 2.0 generation that are like the anti-boomers. Okay, like Andrew has the anti-tax, I have the anti-boomers. That's my thing.
Fuck the Praxis. I got a new political party.
But what you realize is that kids are way more products of just like their genetics, and I think like as a Christian, like their spirit and their soul, than they are environment. Environment plays a role, don't get me wrong, but it's way closer to a 50-50 than it is anything else. And so you have to realize that each kid, especially sons and daughters, are going to be completely different. But even each of my sons is different from each other in a lot of ways. So
how old is your oldest, if you don't mind me asking?
6. Yeah, oldest is 6. So yeah, each kid is going to present, have their own strengths and weaknesses. And your job as a parent is going to kind of like, you have the same goal, but the way you accomplish your goal and the way you prepare your child is going to different per child because they're different. So it's actually kind of common sense, but for some reason, some parents, especially in Christian circles, have this weird autistic thing where they're like these are the rules of the house and they apply to everyone. It's like, okay, so morality is universal and applies to everybody, but even so, like God's morality applies to all of us, but God does not treat each and every one of us the same in terms of our circumstances in life. And then like some people he's called to be celibate, others he hasn't. Some people he's called to go into like, ministry full time, others he hasn't. It's like, we have to remember like the passage in, well, I forget, was it Corinthians, I think, where Paul talks about the different parts of the body of Christ, and that they all perform different roles. And, so yeah, morality is universal, but application and life circumstance isn't. We're all dealt different cards and different circumstances. And there's just something incredibly just weird and ironic that parents feel like they have to universally treat their children the same. Like otherwise it's not fair. It's like, please show me in the Bible or in libertarian ethics really where fairness is a virtue. Now, justice is a virtue, but fairness is different than justice. You are not promised a fair life, and God doesn't promise that everything is going to be all fair and equal. Like fairness is really more akin to egalitarianism than it is to justice. And so we have to remember that.
Have
the
you
second
read?
Thing? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Have you read Egalitarianism: A Vote Against Nature yet by Rothbard?
Yep.
I'm reading it now, and I'm loving it. I'm probably gonna get Zeroed on to talk about it.
Yeah, great. It's a great read. The second thing, as far as like preparing your children for the like exposing them to the world and stuff, is and this I got from like Jordan Peterson, is that it's not your job to keep your child safe. Like that's sort of a byproduct of what your actual job is. Your job is to make your child strong. Because it's kind of like if you feed a man a fish, you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish, you feed him for the rest of his life. If you keep your kids safe,
feed yourself. He's a grown man. It ain't that hard.
Right? Yeah, you're right. I'm actually rewatching that show with my wife right now. I love Ron good. So much.
Have you seen 30 Rock? 30 Rock was
30 Rock. Yeah. Yep.
To me, that's better than Parks and Rec. But they're both really good.
I don't know. I mean, I guess Alec Baldwin is pretty fire.
I mean, he is. I'm buying a mag for my AR. Has a picture of Alec Baldwin on it, and it says probably blank. Dude, the Alec Baldwin memes are fucking killing me.
Oh my God, I know. But I'm trying to remember where I was going with my second point now. Oh yeah, but your job is to make your children strong, and so that kind of goes back to the first rule, where it's like you can't treat all your children the same. You have to kind of analyze your kids' strengths and weaknesses and sort of model, like come up with a game plan for each one of them. Now, personally, I'm homeschooling all my kids. I will not put my kids in public school. Now, that means I do need to find a way to expose them to the world, but in a different way. So, my kids are still young. TikTok, right? Yeah.
Libs of TikTok. That's all you gotta show them. Like, see, kids, I think that's it.
There's something really I think that we can learn from the Amish. The Amish have that thing where like they let their children when they're I love the Amish. You know that most of them come back. Yeah. So there's something
most
there
of them come back with felonies.
yes, it's true. But
I fucking love it. And the cops just are like, yeah, we're gonna try, we ain't gonna stay up for court.
But my point is though, like, yeah, they go out, they experience the world, but the roots that the parents instilled in their children into the faith, into the community, it allows them to endure the drawl and the storms that the secular culture sends at them. And then once they've gone through it and they kind of see how they're able to see how toxic it is, and then they will come home. I firmly believe that you're not gonna, if you try so hard to prevent your child from rebelling against you, you will push them away. But if you just focus on knowing that your child is likely to rebel against you, but you focus on building a strong bond with them and teaching them to know God, teaching them to know his word, bringing them up in the church, bringing them up, reading the Bible to them, and teaching them the truth of what God's word is to us, that that our job is to make sure that our children have that connection, so that if they do fall, which we all do, Bible says all have fallen short of the glory of God, that they know God and will be able to hear his voice and come back to him like the prodigal son. So it's that's my heart, is that it's not our job to keep that's like my main pushback against like the whole covenant community thing. It's not that I'm not against it for libertarian reasons. It's covenant communities are extremely libertarian. But I'm a little bit hesitant because I feel like they're sometimes not as biblically based as I think conservatives think they are, because we are supposed to be in the world. God says be in the world, but not of it. So we do have to draw lines, but we're not supposed to completely, in my opinion,
fraternize with demons.
What?
I'm not supposed to fraternize with demons in the woods, Jacob. And these people are demons. Cool, I'm gonna start sounding like Alex Jones here for the rest of the podcast.
Oh, those intergalactic interdimensional
vampire molesters, child molesters, yes. Interdimensional vampire child molesters are turning to frogs gates, Jacob.
Yeah, so I don't know. That's just where I'm coming from. It's like, I don't. It's like, it's not that I'm not trying to shill for the left. I'm trying to shill for Jesus. I'm trying to shill for the Bible, and it's like, I don't want my kids.
For the Lord.
I don't. Yeah, exactly. It's like, I'm a what did I say before? It was like, I'm a bitch for Jesus.
Put down a bracelet, BFJ, bits for Jesus. No, everyone rebelled against their parents, and I got lucky because my friend's rebellion was going down the whole full-blown atheist, new atheist route. Mm-hmm. My rebellion was evolution, Catholicism, and anarchy. And so I got lucky that my rebellion was, going more traditional, I guess, in my religious views, and not going down the whole agnostic path. I don't know. Agnosticism never made sense to me. It's like, yeah, I get it. I don't know anything either, man. Okay, it's not a philosophy to say you don't know things.
Well, there's something to be said where, like, what's happening in the Christian world right now is a lot of young people have been falling away from the church, but a lot of people who weren't raised in the church have been finding the church and coming to it. I think we underestimate the draw of the scripture and of the Bible. And there's too many. I feel like a lot of the problems is not that people have not been trying to shelter their kids from the world enough. It's more that they've been sheltering their kids from the Bible. They've been churches have been preaching a watered down, secularized, cucked version of the Bible and of the scriptures and of Jesus for a long time. And what?
Okay. So, they are Catholic books, but I think you would enjoy them. This one, which I don't have a cover on, The Decline and Fall of Sacred Scripture. How the Bible became a secular book.
Yep.
Politicizing the Bible, the roots of historical criticism, the secularization of Scripture.
Yep.
At one point, the tagline was, Bible as a tool of statecraft. And it is a guy who's a theologist, or theology. That's the right word, theologist. Scott Hahn, my favorite Catholic, besides Aquinas. But yeah, they are Catholic books, but they are fantastic for understanding how scripture kind of got secularized and misused and stuff. And I think it's an incredible read.
Yeah. No, believe me, I've been very pro-Catholic as of late. And even though I still have my theological disagreements with Catholicism,
we'll get in there, baby. We'll get in there.
But no, I just feel like culturally I'm very much like, especially while the enemies are at our gates, I'm not going to pick fights with my Catholic brothers and sisters. You know what I mean? It's just like, we have way more in agreement than we do disagreement. So like while the world is crashing down on the walls, it's just like, maybe debating about papal supremacy or all this shit is like maybe not the most important thing to
honestly. Like, I love debating the Marian doctrines. I don't know why, but those are my peak go-to for Protestant Catholic debates. But at this point, I don't need to debate the Marian doctrine to someone who agrees with me on like 90% of things.
Yeah, it's like we don't need to debate sola
important.
scriptura while the world's out there trying to, perpetuate all the evil that's being perpetuated against us.
Absolutely.
So those are definitely interesting books I want to check out though, because I think that's spot on. I think that we blame the left and the secular culture for corrupting our kids, but it's our fault for not raising our kids up strong in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Christians have for decades and really centuries become ashamed of the word of God and have become ashamed to stand on the things that God has said and declared to be true.
Catholics got hit with this hard. Vatican II is why I blame a lot of this problem was Catholicism. Vatican II basically said, hey guys, instead of making things, accurate and truthful, let's dumb it down for the masses. And it's like when you dumb it down for the masses, all you get is a bunch of dumbasses.
Yep.
And they really just like they didn't raise anybody up. You really see like Vatican II did not raise any Christians who actually knew what was going on. Like there's so many Catholics who like this is what I want to. I have a Protestant friend, and we debate Catholicism and Protestant quite a bit. And he'll point to like crazy Catholics. I'm like, see, I'm like, yeah, but with crazy Catholics, they're espousing the church says you can't believe. When I point to a crazy Protestant, it's a crazy Protestant. It is not working. It's like it doesn't reflect bad on anybody but their own guy's stupidity. Why is it that when my idiots go directly against the church's teachings, it's somehow a reflection of the church itself? The church says you can't believe that, and it is doing it anyway. Like, so don't put that on me.
Yeah, and honestly, it's like I feel like a lot of the reason why people are falling away to the church and falling into secular culture is because the church was so secularized. It's a hard word to say. It was so secularized that people were conflating Jesus in the Bible with, like, when you're raised in an environment that's very secular, the secular culture seems familiar to you. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I mean? Like they haven't been raised with Jesus at the center. They've been raised with secular values at the center. And so guess what? What did Jesus say? Be hot or cold. Don't be lukewarm. The church is so lukewarm right now that people are going for, the just going towards where it's hotter. It's like, hey, the church is kind of like trying to mix all this stuff. The secular culture says all the cool stuff that I like, but without all the superstition and the religion and all that. So they're going there because they haven't been taught the value of religion.
Dude, when you eventually get Adam Patrick on your podcast, you're going to love it. That dude is fantastic. Also, hurry the fuck up. He won't come on my podcast again until he's done going on your podcast. So get on that.
The problem is, like, I'll send him a message with a date, and then he won't respond to me till like the day of. It'd be like, oh yeah, I'd come on tonight. I'll be like, okay, dude, like I asked you a week ago, and now it's too late. Like I'm not prepared. So yeah, we just keep on like. He's very busy, and I'm very busy, so we just keep like. We'll get it eventually.
That dude is great, man. One of my favorite conversations I ever had was that guy. Like I really do. I listen to every podcast he does. That great dude. Honestly, the only person who convinced me the clear pill was a good idea would be Adam, because otherwise the clear pill sounds really stupid. But when Adam talks about it, it's kind of like, okay, I can get behind Adam. Whatever you say.
I want to get Adam on, and I still want to get Andrew on. I think I've through a mutual friend of ours convinced Andrew to come on my show at some point. Although it's like Andrew has like his Twitter account set up to where like only people that he follows can message him, so I can't message him. So
he doesn't follow you?
No, he doesn't follow me.
Yeah. I all the Praxians, but Matt follow me, which is sad because Matt's been on my podcast like the most. Matt's wife follows me, but Matt himself does not follow me, and it's kind of upsetting me at this point. It's like, come on, Matt, you're the last guy I need to play. I have a meme where it's Thanos holding the gauntlets, and I have them all, and it's all the Praxians following me. I just need him to follow me so I can post a meme.
Well, I'm trying to go for the holy trifecta. I've had, well, actually, I guess it's a quadfecta. I've had Pete Quinones on. I've had Spike Cohen on. I'm getting Dave Smith on. The final boss is Tom Woods. I gotta find a way to get Tom Woods on the show. Because, like, you know what I mean? Like, I just keep going up in tiers. And once I get Tom Woods, then it's like, cool, I can retire. podcasting career over.
That's
mission
me when I've been.
accomplished.
Well, that's gonna be me when I get once I have Thomas DeLorenzo on the podcast, I'm just done. Anything after that is just icing on the cake.
Right.
I was gonna get him on, and the day before, like the weekend before he's coming on, my boss was like, "Hey, change the plans. The other guy had a job interview that day, so I need you to come in." I'm like, "Well, I'll cancel the podcast then," and I canceled it. He's never got back to me about it. So I'm worried I might have burned that bridge. Hopefully not.
Hopefully not. But
Yeah, that dude's my
it's
hero.
all good.
Yeah. Honestly, DeLorenzo is like the only person, like, when it comes to the Liberty movement, hey, I just saw that. God, it's been an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
We went
a little long there.
Well, when I start drinking, I just forget what time it is. Honestly, after 2 drinks, my brain just sets off. I won't remember any of this tomorrow. Like after 2 drinks, my brain just sets off.
I never remember what I say in podcasts. People go like, "Oh, I love what you talked about with so and so." It's like, "Oh, what did I say?" I don't remember what I said.
I force myself to re-listen to my podcast so I can know what I said, and I fucking hate my own voice, and so it's just.
I hate your own voice. No, I'm just
kidding. I'm letting go. Oh, it's so bad. That fucking tongue-tied speech impediment.
You're getting better though as time goes on. So I mean, you definitely, I don't know if maybe that. And I don't know if you've upgraded your mic, but your sound, your speech has definitely become easier to like. I've always been able to understand you, but I definitely have noticed that like the more you've done, the better you've gotten. So
yeah. Well, I got a bit of mic over here. I'm actually looking at another one now. I'm going to be upgrading soon.
I had a bad
headset and legit mask.
Yeah, I had a bad speech impediment when I was younger, and I actually signed up for speech and debate class as a way to kind of help me overcome that. So there's a lot of speech drills that you can do that are obnoxious, but that they help you learn to enunciate better. But even then, it's like there's still like I noticed that when I started podcasting, that the lower quality mics, unless I was perfectly enunciating everything, the mics wouldn't pick up everything. Because my speech still isn't like 100% crisp. So that's why like now the mic I have now picks up everything perfectly. Not this one. This is my cheap mic.
Well, sounds great. I did speech therapy when I was younger. It was weird. Well, everybody, Jacob, give your plugs. We're going for an hour and 20 minutes almost. Give your plugs and we can get out of here.
It's Daniel 3 Biblical Anarchy on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, pretty much everywhere. And then my Twitter handle is @Biblical Anarchy. And the website's daniel318.com. And that's pretty much it.
Okay, guys, another episode of Faith, Liberty, and Praxis. I'm your host, Caleb Brown, and director of the Polk County Paleos. PCP is our acronym. Anything else you need me for? I'm on Twitter at CalebBrown549. Reach out to me with any questions you have, and I will happily block you for any of the stupid ones. I'll see you. Oh, Jacob, what's your OnlyFans?